the energy, the chaos that new season in the Scottish Premiership brings. Just give us your emotions ahead of the big kick-off on Saturday.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. We've had a really good pre-season, lots to assess and lots to admire of the players, the work they've put in, and by the club and the staff. So, but of course, you're preparing for when it matters, and that starts on Saturday. So we look forward to it.
For you personally, you experienced your welcome back to Celtic Park during the week, but on a competitive match, how's the emotions for you returning to that dugout again?
Yeah, nothing but excitement and really looking forward to it. We obviously had a really good night in James's testimonial game, and the crowd were ever so kind and gave us a great reception. But yeah, my focus is purely just preparing the team, but just driving up to the stadium and seeing all the supporters at the weekend and everyone there, and obviously the Flag Day, which is, it's a commemoration of the great work that the players and the staff did last season, and also it's a symbol of what we're fighting for to win again. So it gives a great motivation and something for us to look forward to.
How prepared do you feel the squad are for this season ahead, and how confident are you that you can increase the levels that was met last year and the successes of last season?
Well, I think the standards have been set here over many years. It's the standard of Celtic. It's not just what's probably been done in the last 5-10 years. Celtic as a club has a high expectation, high standards that are always set, and as any manager that comes into here, that's what you embrace, and it's also what you look forward to. So for me, I understand what they are, and that was one of the big reasons for coming back here, to try and continue and develop those and improve those. And as I said, we got a fantastic group of players that are still very much in the learning phase of their development, and yeah, I've really enjoyed working with them so far.
In terms of the squad, numbers-wise, in and outs, are you where you want the squad to be, or whether you wanted the squad to be at the beginning of the season when you first came in and evaluated what you had at your disposal? Yeah,
I think it was key for me to come in, and assess and give that a period of time. I think there's clear positions that are priorities for us that we'd like to improve on, but I think the team and the squad was in a really good position. But I are fresh in, so I needed to assess that and see it over a period of time. And I think over time we'll look to improve the squad further. So because I think it's the best time to do it whenever you've had success, and because success is that moving target. It keeps moving, and the challenges this year will be even greater. So we have to ensure that we have a squad that can match those.
Do you relish that the challenges keep getting greater, rivals keep strengthening, and you have that target on your back, you have that championship title to defend? Is that something that you look forward to?
Yeah, well, the mentality is rather than defend it, we want to win it. I think that's what's key. We start everything afresh. It was a great achievement last year and years leading up to that. But everyone starts with no points at the beginning of the season. So that's excitement for me of coming back to here. I always felt I'd unfinished business here when I left and went away. But now being back, so happy to be here, and but really happy to take on that expectation and pressure that comes with managing Celtic.
You talk about that expectation. The expectation is the 3 trophies that won last year. You've won 3 trophies here before, but when there's almost perfect domestic season, winning all the trophies, how do you improve it? From the outside, last season, looking at what the team did last year, where did you feel there was need for improvement? What areas have you identified that need to improve?
Well, listen, I sit here with the knowledge of doing it twice. So I understand what the pitfalls of success are. In order to have long-term success and continue with it, there's certain elements and items that you need to ensure that you guard against. So that's something that we've spoken about over the course of pre-season. Listen, for a club like Celtic, it's always about winning, but winning in the best way that you possibly can. And that's sometimes harder. I think when we did the treble the first time, when we did it the second time, we didn't amass the same amount of points. game maybe wasn't quite at the same level, but what we did do is we turned up in the big games, and we done what we needed to do, and that'll be the idea this season again, to win 3 trophies. It's an incredible achievement, but like I say, it's a new season and new motivation and new desires now, and I'm looking forward to challenging for every trophy again.
Just speaking to Callum there, and he said that since you've come in, you have worked on a few different systems, and the key part of your management is flexibility. We saw it when you went down south, you're very flexible with formations and tactics. How important is that going to be for you this season? Because under the previous management, it was always one system, plan A, plan A, plan A, and it was successful. But how important do you think it is to have flexibility, especially when European games come in as well?
Yeah, listen, there's no right or wrong way. I think throughout my coaching career, I've always had a philosophy in terms of how I want the teams to play. So in terms of style and philosophy, that's always the same. In terms of, imposing yourself in the game, being really aggressive in your pressing, shortening the pitch, and of course dominating the ball and creating opportunities. So that style is always the same. But what I've tended to do is move and change in out of systems, and have that flexibility. I like my players to be able to do that. So I think coming into here, the team is in a really good place. Ange's done a fantastic job here for the couple of seasons, and he'll do very well down in the Premier League. For me, it was the case of coming in, assessing where it was at, and in just certain phases of the game, looking to add something new that's different for opponents to think about. So that's just been in the different phases of the game.
And just finally for me, injury-wise, how are you looking at the weekend at Carter Vickers Ralston? Are they available to start? Are they ready to start? Are there any other knocks you've got?
Well, both those players came through really well during the week, which is great news for us. Again, we've got another day to go, but they're back with the squad. They probably aren't as up to speed as what some of the other boys are, but they still look in very good condition. So we'll just take a look at them tomorrow. Apart from that, just the guys that have been out for a little bit of time, just are still a little bit off it. But hopefully over the course of the next 3 to 4 weeks, some more will return.
Has the defence been the key issue over the last week or so, because you've got players just coming back, some players still out injured? Has that been the one that's been a bit more difficult to plan for?
Yeah. I just think in terms of, like you say, Cam has been an outstanding centre half. Tony obviously, and Ali being out. So I think we've had that's where the injuries have been, really, in that area of the field. And what we've done is got through pre-season. It's given me a chance to see some players like Liam Scales, who I hadn't seen a great deal of. So a good chance to see him over the last 4 to 5 weeks. Tomo as well, playing at right back. He has played there a few times. He's obviously brought in here as a midfield player, but has played at centre half, but has shown that he can play at right back as well. So I think the pre-season, that's what it's about. It's about gaining your fitness and obviously finding opportunities to experiment with 1 or 2 ideas, and like you say, the defence has probably been that area where we've been able to do that.
Obviously, working the opponents, obviously Malky Mackay, somebody you probably know from down south. How much you look forward to coming up against him? Yeah,
really looking forward to seeing Malky. Malky's a good man. I have to say, I think Ross County are very, very fortunate to have someone of that calibre as a manager. He's had a real challenging decade, Malky, but what I know from working with him is what a first-class manager he is, and coach and person. And he's obviously up at Ross County and done a great job with, I'm sure limited resources what he has, and the great finish a couple of seasons ago, and obviously fought to stay in the league last season. But what I'll know with Malky's teams, he'll always make it really, really difficult. And as I said, he's a top class manager that Ross County are very fortunate to have.
Hi Brendan, obviously we've had a lot of players coming in and we've had quite a entertaining pre-season. But there's guys like Alexandro Bernabe who, they improved at the end of last season, and now they're starting to play a lot more, and they look to be a bit more confident than they were at the end of last season. Is he someone that you've had a chat with and looks to kind of settle in more as his time goes on and looks to feature more in the squad?
I've obviously spoken to a lot of the players. I think again it's coming in and assessing their qualities and where they're at, and like you say, he's a player that I've been able to connect with and just find out a little bit more about. Now he's a player that's really good going forwards. He knows he has to work defensively in that aspect of the game, because it is fundamental that you can, in order to attack, you need to be able to defend, especially if he plays a fullback. But yeah, I think we have a number of players that in the squad that maybe haven't had a lot of game time, and it's where the slate is clean for them. And a number of those guys have showed up really, really well in pre-season. So I said before that coming into here, it was the case of I'll judge people on merit and what they're producing over the course of the pre-season, as opposed to what they've did before, and that's always the way I look at it. So he's a player that's done very well, as is a number of other players that haven't featured maybe so much.
Also with the signing of Naroki, is someone that you came up against in your time at Leicester. Is that the kind of the market you've been looking into? Is it guys you've kind of worked with before, or maybe played against and they've caught your eye and they've stayed in your mind? Is that kind of where you're looking to continue to dip into?
Well, I think firstly it's the recruitment team will have a list of players, a short list of players for each position. Again, it's very, very well structured here, very well thought out. A lot of great planning goes in, so that in the eventuality of a player maybe moving on, and sometimes that's unexpectedly, that there's a list of players there that we can look to bring in that all fit within the model of how the club works. So yeah, it just so happens to be he was a player that played for Leggy against myself with Leicester, and he did very well in the game, but he's done consistently well for a period of time, and I think this is a really nice step for him to come in and be a part of this squad, and hopefully he can push on with his career.
I just asked one more, just
Yeah.
to see about VAR. I'm assuming you've had a presentation to all the clubs there, the SFA. There were a few issues, it was fair to say, last season when it came in. Does it all seem clear to you, what is expected and what to expect from the VAR officials?
Yeah, I think you have to, like anything, you have to give it time. I said when I was first up here, I felt it was a really good idea to bring it in, so I'm happy that it is in. You're always going to have error, but it's trying to mitigate that as much as you can. So no, the guy's done a really good presentation to myself and the players and the staff this afternoon. So like I said, they'll have learnt from last year and some of the issues that are around it, and it's the same. It's the same in England. It doesn't run smoothly. There's always issues. So, but it's trying to mitigate as many of those wrong decisions as possible, and continually learning. And I think that's what the guys will have done from last season.